The Rebbe was discussing over here the idea that a person needs to, from the Tanya says, if you have a yid distracting you, talking to you, you're trying to daven, and you have a yid distracting you when you're davening. So what's the idea? What do you do? Uh, you have to realize one of the reflections is that the Eibishter put this person in front of you to disrupt you so that you daven even stronger. Don't let him distract you because that's the Shechina that is dressed up in this, in the Goy, in the Mavalvel, is dressed up because the Eibishter wants you to daven even more. The same thing the Rebbe said is when a person has machshava zorus, those machshava zorus that are falling to the person by the davening, the reason for them is so that the person should daven stronger. So when you make the reflection, you figure out that the point is for you to daven even better. Uh, so then that's the way to get rid of. But the Rebbe is going to explain now in Ois Vites that when it comes to machshava zoris in your mind when you're davening, you can't start reflections. Over there, he quotes from the Maimer, you need the midas hanetzochen just to get rid of it. It's not a time. Beforehand, before the davening, you can figure out. He brings from the Tanya that the person should not go ahead and start debating, but he should just push away and remove his mind and not even pay attention at all to it. So this reflection that we say that you should think, oh, I'm getting the machshava zoris because of a should daven stronger. Your own machshava zoris, if they come, you just got to push them away at the time that they come. Let's look inside. Oisu test. V'hinei inyan zeh, this idea, שהעצה להיפטר מבלבולים בתפילה. The idea, what we're talking about, this idea, this concept, that what is the advice? How can one rid himself from the confusions, the interruptions in the davening? And we said, Hu ali yidei ha his boinenus, that is through his reflection. שהכוונה בהבלבולים היא בכדי לעורר את האדם להספלל יוסר בכוונה. You realize, you reflect that what's the intention, what's the intent that you have these distractions, what is this bilbulim coming in? That is in order to wake up the person, encourage the person to daven with more kavanah. So this reflection is hu kishahabilbulim heim al yidei debure shel odom achar hamevalvolot. That is when these distractions, this interference, comes through this speaking of another person who's trying to disturb the person is deliberately. So when another person is there trying to disturb you, so then you have to use this reflection to understand and see that actually the Eibishter wants you to daven even with more kavanah. That's why the Eibishter sent you this goy to be mevabel you. Mashen ken kisha bilbulim heim mimachshava zoris sheneflis loy menafshe b'habahamis b'chdei levalvel, as opposed to when these interferences, these bilbulim, come from your own strange thoughts that fall to you. How do they come? From your animal soul, and they're there to be mevavel. And this is really just like a goy, a strange person is trying to be mevavel. There's no difference. The same thing is the nefesh habahamis. That's your own distraction. He's also doing the same thing as a goy. Af shezeh shenafshe habahamis meval belis oisei bahamachshava zoris. Even though this that the animal soul is interfering with you with the bad thoughts, with the strange thoughts, is hukim marshal. That is the same example. Orul Rosha Shemivalvel Oisoi Al Yidei Dibure, an evil, a Rasha who is interfering with you uh, uh, by speaking to you. So even though it is similar, but the way to deal with your own machshava zores that come from your nefesh abahamis is not to come to a realization that they're there to make you even daven stronger. At the time when these strange thoughts come, they fall. There is no room, there's no place at that time to reflect in the intent. The Ridas Ashchina about the descent of the divine, the slapshus nitzutz meharoso, that a spark of the shine of the divine dresses up a machshava zoris in the strange machshavas. We can't have that reflection at the time when the machshava zoris come to realize that there's a spark of the Shekhinah there, and they're there in order to make you daven even more. As it says in Tanya with there, you shouldn't respond with no argument, with no answer against the machshava zoros. Don't respond. Now, this, the Rebbe says now, includes, when we say not responding, is not only not responding to the thought machshava zora itself, but not even responding to the reason why the machshava zora comes, because of the Shekhinah. We can say shegam his boinenus, shegam his boinenus. Also, the reflection besibas hamachshava zora, in the reason for the machshava zora, he bichlal taino minor. That would be included an argument, an answer. You're battling the machshava zora. So even this is not necessary or desirable. At the time, there's a machshava zora. What do you do with it at that time? What is the advice? He should make himself pretend he doesn't know, he doesn't hear. To those thoughts that fell into his mind. He should just remove it from your mind. Pretend like you didn't hear it. Pretend like you didn't see. You don't know of it. Just remove it from your mind. And the Rebbe says, if it's not during the davening, yes, you can reflect. Why do you get machshava zoros during the davening? That's in order to daven better. But at the time you're davening and you have facing those machshava zoros, over there is no room for any sort of explanation or debate. You just got to remove it and not think about it. As he explains, the kasha misboinen b'chavona the machshava zoros bisman achar. When you reflect in the intent why you have machshava zoros on another time, that reflection can help. That during when he's davening, he should not have these machshava zoros. That's if you reflect beforehand. But when these machshavas themselves fall, he lost his atzme. The advice is to make himself to pretend he doesn't know, he doesn't hear those thoughts that came into his mind during davening. That's the way we have to deal with it. That explains what the Rebbe brought down before, that in the Maimer, there is two approaches. One approach was to reflect on the Shechina descending and a spark to cause you distractions. That's one. And then the Midas Nitzochen. And the Rebbe explains here that the Midas Nitzochen is used at the time that your own machshava zaros come to you during the davening. You just remove them and you don't entertain them at all, as opposed to before the davening or when a goy talks to you. That's when you use the reflection. And that's why it says in the Maimer, ha'tshel lipoter ma'machshavos shenoiflos that what is the advice to rid yourself from the thoughts that fall in at the time of davening, learning, and davening is to awaken and arouse that characteristic, that trait of nitzochen, of netzach. Because at the time when the machshava zoros fall, there is no room for any hisbonenus, as we said before. So the Rebbe is going to talk that when you reflect in the reason of the bilbulim, when you use that method of realizing the Shechina descended in order to get you to daven better, that is when you bring about ishapcha. But during the davening, you have to deal with the machshava zoros, and you do the mitzvah hanetzach. That's iskafia, and iskafia is actually even a higher level than ishapcha. Hine, when the person reflects in the reason for these distractions. The distractions that either come through the speech, somebody is talking, another person is talking that is trying to interfere with your davening. And in a similar way, when another person, even the machshava zoros that come from your own nefesh habahamis, when you reflect why they're coming, that you reflected in another time, not during davening. So that those are used, that reflection, not during davening, through that type of reflection. The yiridas hashchina v'slapshus nitzutz meharosa behadiburim ubehamachshavas hamevalvalim, that the descent, that's the reflection. Why did the Shechina, and why did a spark of the shine of the Shechina dress up in these speeches that the person is talking to him, and these thoughts that come from them that are interfering? So that is in order that through this he should arouse himself with additional kavanah. Yirid etzerech aliyah, descent, which is for the purpose of elevation. Al yidei zehu mailes hanitzutzis shenoflu b'hadibim. That way you elevate those sparks that fell in speech. So the sparks that the Shechina has been dressed up in the confusing talks that the stranger or the machshava zoros, you elevate them, and that is the level of ishapcha. That is bonanus, and that way you turn them around and you take those sparks which are interfering, and those same sparks get you to daven better and stronger, meaning you turned around those sparks. That's the level of ishapcha. But when you're in the middle of davening, you got the kasher misboideres midas hanetzach shaboy. But when you arouse the measure of netzach in the person, al habilbulim, and you overpower these interferences, you push them away, and and you make yourself as not listening to them, that level of pushing away who is kafir. That's his kafir. His boinenus brings about his hapcha because you get to daven better. But pushing away these strange thoughts during the davening that come from your nefesh habahamis, that's just his kafir. You're just not listening. That's the midas hanetzach, but you didn't turn it around. But the api hamevur li'il sivhei, based on that which was explained earlier in sivhei, shaham shoche shel yidei ha'avodah diskafia, that which we bring down through the avodah diskafia, hinailis yoser mehaham shoche shel yidei ha'avodah diskafia, is on a higher level than the hamshocha that comes through his hapcha. Yesh loimar. So we can say shal yidei shematche es ha'hirhurim ba'ofen diskafia. So then we can say that by pushing away the hurim in a skafia, not his hapcha, but his skafia, because that's a higher level, it's a greater level than his hapcha. Mitoisef oimetz bekavanosi bitfila. He is added more force, more energy in his intended davening. Even more than the addition in the intention, which comes through the reflection of above, that the pushing away the accomplishment, because iskafia is a higher level, pushing away these machshavas zores brings you to a higher level. When you do iskafia, your davening is with more force and more energy, more than even when you give yourself the reflection that they're there in order to get you to daven better. Chav Behine b'chtei sheyuchol ha'odam li'izgaber al habilbulim v'litchosam. So how, in order for a person to be able to overcome, strengthen himself over these interferences and to push them away? Since it's a very big and difficult job, it's a hard avodah. So the person is given from above, and not just given, splurge. They splurge in a way of splurging. The supreme, the storage that is up there, we give it to the person. So what does it mean? So he explains like this. We can explain this, explaining the connection between these two ideas, that because you need to fight so strongly, you get the Oitzer Ha'elyon, you get the supreme, you get the bizbus of the supreme Oitzer, the Kivon She'oitzer Hu Inyan HaNe'elam. A storage is a treasure that is an idea that has been hidden. Ayin loy rasa, no eye has seen, nobody's seen that treasure. So the fact that it is given and revealed the Oitzer, ubefrat be'ofen the bizbus, and especially not just to give and reveal the Oitzer, but to give it, splurge it, so you have a difficult avodah. The Eibishter does something which is hard for him. It's, so to speak, hard to give away such a treasure that nobody has seen, such a high madrege. It's difficult. So it's difficult for Hashem, and that is because you have a difficult avodah. And still you do it. The Eibishter does it for the person, so that he can work and serve that difficult avodah. So we can add Shalpi hayadua shahamshocha milmaila habo al yidei avodas ha'odom, that it's known that what we draw down from above, because we worked the work of the person, he nailis yoiser mahamachshava milmailo shinisinas koyach laodom la'aved avedosei. That is a higher level, the result of avoida of the person. What your mamshich is on a higher level than that what the person was drawn to him from Hashem to help him do the avoida, which gives the koyach. So we're saying the Eibishter gives him the oitzrus. Yes, the Eibishter gives him the oitzrus in order for him to be able to do this work. But the oitzrus that come because the person worked for them is in a higher level than the oitzrus himself. Yesh leimar shal yidei sheha'odom izgaber al habilbul. So when the person used that koyach that he got from the bizbus oitzrus, the Eibishter gave him, and the person overcomes the bilbulim, umatchois pushes them away, by this power that was given to him, that the Eibishter drew down the supreme Oitzer, which is Hamshochas Oitzer Habo Al Yidei Avedose, because the Oitzer, now he worked, he got the koyach, and he worked, and he pushed it away, and now he brings down that treasure through his avodah because he successfully pushed it away. He used the treasure. He nailis oid yoser. That is even a higher level. So that the person's avodah brings that bizbus ha'eitzres even to a greater level than it was to give him the koyach to fight it. Yesh lemar, we can say this is what the Maimer says in the end and the conclusion of the 20th chapter, the last chapter of the Maimer of Basi Legani, Shugam Hasim v'Achoisim D'chol HaHemshech, which is also the conclusion and the end of the entire Hemshech of Basi Legani. That through the victory that the person beats his nefesh habamis, he causes to bring down the Oitzer Elyon. You know, he brought down the Oitzer Elyon in order to fight it. But here he says that once you win the war, you bring down the Oitzer Elyon. Shu Gilui Pnimis v'Atzmus Ein Sobaruch. And he adds the words that Oitzer Elyon is the revelation of the inner and the asses of Ein Sof Baruch. This is more than he said before, because after the victory, after the avodah, you get higher. The Beprokim HaKodim Kshemedaber, in the previous chapter when he was talking about the Oitzer, he doesn't say this language. Pnimius v'atzmus ein sobaruch. He doesn't say it. Previously, we're talking about drawing down and the revelation of the Oitzer in order to give you the Nitzachim. And in the end and the conclusion of this Hemshech, when he talk about that you draw down the Oitzer, that comes through the victory of the person, Omer. Over here he adds, it's the revelation of the inner and the essence of the Yisod Baruch Hu, because now you're mamshich even a higher level. So now the Rebbe explains how this is connected to the level of the chapter 20, because 20 is essence is keser, or it's pnimius keser, it's atik, as the Rebbe will explain now. Yesh leimar, yesh levayir hashayich is the inyan zeh. We can explain the connection of this idea that we're a revelation of pnimis atzmus ein sof l'siyum v'choisim the perika esrim, to the end and the conclusion of the 20th chapter. Api hamavur b'Likutei Torah, based on that which is explained in Likutei Torah. Why the entrance of the ulam was like a double, was 40 amma. Normal door is 20 ammas. This is 40. Shnei pa'amim esrim. This is 2 times 20. Why? Who the esrim bigematria keser. We know the word esrim, ayin shin reish yud mem, equals numerically the 620. Ushnei pa'amim esrim. So 2 times esrim arboim, which is the 40 amas, and shnei habechina shebekeser. That refers to the 2 levels within keser, which is atik v'arich. That's 20 and 20. And explained over there the zeh pesach ha'ulam lo hoyu lo idlosis, the fact that the entrance to the ulam, it didn't have any doors. It was always open on its own. You didn't have to open it. Who? Because ki avodas ha'odam einoi be'erech la'oirer u'lahamshich. The person's work is not compared to be able to arouse and to draw down the level of keser that's above ishtalshlus. In other words, you can't open the door. You can't be mamshich. That door is open, but not your elo, so you can't open it. And therefore, shall yidei shleimus avoda. When the person completes his avoda, nimshachu ma'atzmei comes by itself. So that's the idea of basically of ulam being keser and being the 2 levels of keser, and that's why the doors are always open. But vapi hamevur b'mokem achar, and based on well explained elsewhere, sheyisaruso deletato magas lo yirak b'chochmas timo elo gam begalgalto darich, that Isarusa del Tata reaches not only into the level of Chochmas Timor, but even in the Galgalto Da'arich, basically meaning that, yes, the Avodah of the person can reach the level of Arich, Chochmas Timor, the Galgalto. So the Rebbe wants to say that mainly when we say that it's open, it doesn't come, the person's avodah doesn't reach there. Yesh loymar dizeshe pasach ha'ulam haya pasuach tamid ma'atzmei. The fact that the entrance of the ulam was always open. Ubeiker mitzad bechinas atik sheba. It's mainly because of atik, because arich, even galgalto the arich, the person does have isarusa de latata does reach there. Can't say. So the main thing why it's open, it's because it's pnimis hakes. So now we can explain the connection that we talked about here. The Gilui Pnimis V'Atzmus Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Talking about the level of the inner essence Ein Sof Baruch Hu that the Rebbe brings down in the Maimer that comes after the Avodas HaNitzochen, the Siyum, the Chosim, Pedika Esrim, to the end and the conclusion of the 20th chapter. The Hasiyum V'Chosim, the Esrim. What is the end and the conclusion of the 20? Ubchinas habeis the keser. The end. That's the second level of keser, level of atik. Atik atzmei, and within atik itself, pnimius atik. That's the level. The pnimius atzmei itself is the inner of atik. Ad the pnimius atzmus ein sof baruch hu, till the inner and the essence of the ein sof baruch hu. Ba'ashleimus the gilui zeh. And the wholesomeness of this revelation, Yiyeh, will be B'pische shel ulam the Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi, in the entrance of the ulam of the 3rd Beis Hamikdash. It's going to be 40 amas, the 20. Sheyiboneh b'mheira b'yameina, the Mashiach Tzidkenu will be built very speedily in our day through Mashiach Tzidkenu, B'korev Mamash very soon. So here the Rebbe explained that there is a higher level of Pnimis Atzmus Ein Sof that comes through Nitzochen, through the Midas HaNitzochen. The Rebbe explained that when do we use reflections? When somebody else is confusing you, or even when you know Machshava Zoros before the Machshava Zoros, before the davening. But if during the davening you use the Midas HaNetzach, and the Rebbe explained that when you use the Midas HaNetzach, you actually bring down higher than the Oitzer HaElyon. Because the Oitzer HaElyon comes The Eibishter gives you the koyach to be able to overcome. But once you use it and you overcome, you bring it in a higher level, which is the level of Pnimis Atzmus Ein Soberchu, which the Rebbe translates into the 20, into the level of Keser, within Keser, the level of Atik, within Atik, in Pnimis Atik, within Pnimis Atik, in the Pnimis Atzmus Ein Soberchu, and that is connected to the chapter 20, the end of the Hemshech of the Maimer of the Basi Legani. Okay, Baruch Hashem, finished,
Okay.
and we'll be Mamshech tomorrow, Be'ezras Hashem. Okay, cool. So thank you.
Okay. See you later. Bye bye.